In relationships, lots of people make compromises. Instead of sleeping in the AC at 16 degrees Celsius, they increase it to 20 to make their partners comfortable. They put less salt in the food to suit their partner's taste. Or, if the request is a deal breaker and it can't be done, they just end it. But no one thought sacrificing your children could make your relationship work. When Diane thought her own 3 kids were the reason she couldn't be together with her new boyfriend, she decided to take matters into her own hands in the most gruesome way. This is the story of Elizabeth Diane Downes. Diane graduated from Moon Valley High School in Phoenix, where she met her husband, Steve Downes. Diane was quite a troublesome child. She was expelled after 1 year from the Pacific Coast Baptist Church College for promiscuous behavior. November 13, 1973, Diane ran away from home and married Steve Downes. Their first child, Christy was born in 1974. Cheryl followed in 1976. And Stephen Daniel, known as Danny, was the result of an affair Diane had. After Diane got divorced from her husband in 1980, she had no source of income. She decided to become a surrogate mother, but failed 2 qualifying psychiatric exams. In 1981, she had taken up a job at the U.S. Postal Service office in Arizona. And that's where she met Robert Knickerbocker, known as Nick. Nick was married, but his home life was on rocky grounds, and so he pursued an intimate relationship with her. Diane had a reputation, and Nick assumed that she would be a quick fling. Towards the end of the year, Downes finally got an offer of surrogacy. She gave birth to a daughter through surrogacy on May 8, 1982. Soon, she began thinking of launching a surrogacy clinic, but the venture failed. Nick ended the relationship and Downes was transferred to Oregon. She could not get over Nick and became obsessed instead. Nick, however, successfully reconciled with his wife after the transfer. After this, Downes was heartbroken and thought her kids were the reason why Nick didn't want to be with her. On May 19, 1983, at 10:48 p.m., Diane Downes drives into the emergency room drop-off. Her car is soaked in blood, and inside are her 3 young children, 8-year-old Christine, 7-year-old Cheryl, and 3-year-old Danny, all shot at close range. Cheryl is gone on arrival. Christie and Danny are barely alive. As doctors work to save them, the police is called to the hospital. While Danny had been shot in the back and Christie twice in the chest, their mother is in good condition, with a minor gunshot wound to her left forearm. The 27-year-old single mother tells police a terrifying story about that night. She said she and her children had been visiting a friend earlier that evening, and after dark, they decided to head home.
We were just out, sightseeing, you'd say. And the kids got tired. They fell asleep in the car. So I decided to just head on home. But I saw a road I hadn't been on before. We like to take back roads. And just went down that road. And there was a guy standing in the road, flagging me down, so I stopped.
She said she turned the ignition off and she asked, "What's the problem?" He said, "I want your car." She replied, "You've got to be kidding." And it was at that time that he pushed her aside and then reached in and shot 3 sleeping kids.
Everything was done in a matter of 5 or 10 seconds.
She said she had her keys in her hand and she faked throwing the keys out into the field.
He swung himself around and fired twice. One caught me in the arm, the other one went off somewhere.
She pushed him away, jumped in the car, and raced off to the hospital. That was her version of the story.
Danny cried the whole way. I could hear him softly just moaning, and Christy was dying. God, all the blood, all the pain.
There were no emotions in the interview.
roll over so she wouldn't choke on the blood, and it didn't dawn on me at the time that the blood was coming from her lungs.
Her behavior was not anything that you would expect from a mother who had just lost her child. The story shocked the whole of Springfield, Oregon. Mothers didn't go out in the evening, and they sure didn't take their kids. Sheriff's Department released a drawing of the suspect while police looked for a mysterious gunman and the missing murder weapon, a .22 caliber handgun. Police immediately became suspicious of Diane's story. Just 4 days after her 7-year-old daughter's life was taken, Diane was reenacting the attack within the car on TV.
Sitting in the car is Elizabeth Diane Downes, one of the victims of this attempt murder.
I'm throwing the keys, okay? I'm throwing the keys.
Simulating,
yes? Yes, I go like that. I got in the car, jumped in, put the keys in. I just hit my cast. Started the car and left. The car door shut itself.
Diane was giggling and fixing her makeup. She was clearly enjoying herself. She loved the limelight and the attention. She kept giving interviews while her 2 remaining children were still in the hospital. 3-year-old Danny is paralyzed from the chest down, and the 8-year-old Christie has suffered a stroke and is unable to speak. The police have no murder weapon, no witnesses, and no motive, but many begin asking questions about Diane Downes. Why would a mother with 3 little kids take them out for a drive in the dark on a school night?
And as I say, she may be the only one to get me out of this. Would I have brought her to the hospital? Wouldn't she be the one that I would make sure is dead? There are too many holes in it. Why would I have taken my kids to the hospital? Wouldn't I have made sure they were dead and then cried crocodile tears? That's insane to think that I would do such a thing and then bring the witnesses in against myself. That's crazy.
But police discover parts of her story don't add up. Another driver on the road that night saw something else. A witness that was driving behind Diane that night came up and said Diane was traveling so slow that this witness's speedometer wouldn't move off to pick it. Meanwhile, Diane was up everywhere on every news station. She thought that if she could explain long enough, you could see it her way. But the longer she talked, the guiltier she looked.
Everybody says you sure were lucky. Well, I don't feel very lucky. I couldn't tie my damn shoes for about 2 months. The scar is going to be there forever. I'm going to remember that night for the rest of my life, whether I want to or not. I don't think I was very lucky. I think my kids were lucky. If I had been shot the way they were, we all would have died.
She seemed to be missing the compassion and the empathy. She made the interviews all about her. All police had at this point was a story full of holes, and this was not evidence of murder. The weapon was nowhere to be found, and they couldn't figure out Diane's motive. Then, investigators had a breakthrough. They discovered Diane's secret diary. In it, pages and pages of passion and desire for a man named Nick, a married man and a former co-worker at the post office. She wrote every day to Nick and about Nick. She was desperate to get his attention. He didn't want to be a dad to her kids, and she saw the kids as a burden. They were in the way, and he wasn't going to join her as long as she had the kids. The quickest, simplest way was to eliminate the children. Now, police see a motive. Danny and Christie are alive, and once out of the hospital, they can testify. Danny is too young to tell what happened, and Christie, severely traumatized and partially paralyzed, can't speak. Therapists spend months easing her towards recovery and a chance to tell the truth. Christie would be a key witness in this trial, but she needed to be healthy enough, physically and emotionally, to be able to take the stand. February 1984. Nearly 9 months after the shooting, Diane is finally arrested. She has been charged with 1 count of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and 2 counts of assault in the 1st degree. She pleads not guilty, but as she arrives in court that day, she has her own stunt. Diane, the mother accused of taking the lives of her kids, is pregnant again.
I got pregnant because I miss Christy and I miss Danny and I miss Cheryl so much. I'm never going to see Cheryl on earth again. And you can't replace children, but you can replace the effect that they give you. And they give me love, they give me satisfaction, they give me stability, they give me a reason to live and a reason to be happy, and that's gone. They took it from me. But children are so easy to conceive.
It was clear she didn't have babies so she could love them. She had babies so they could love her. People still don't know who the father was. Because she was delivering mail, she picked one of the men on her route to have a baby with. The prosecutors were worried that this could generate sympathy for her. Downes' trial sparked national interest. Every day, hundreds wait in line to get a seat in this courtroom to see for themselves the mother accused of shooting her 3 small children. The mother who was now pregnant once again. The trial will later be depicted in the movie Small Sacrifices. All of the trial dramatic moments were depicted in the movie. It was such a freak show, but the most dramatic moments came with the prosecution's star witness. After months of physical and emotional therapy, 9-year-old Christy Downes enters the courtroom. She was scared, but she got up on the stand. Diane was looking at her and expecting Christy to protect her.
Who shot you?
My mom.
Christie's testimony sealed her mother's fate. On June 17, 1984, a heavily pregnant Diane Downes is found guilty of taking the life of 1 child and trying to take 2 more. Diane was later diagnosed with 3 personality disorders. The judge sentenced Diane to life in prison. Her 2 children who survived her attacks were adopted by the prosecutor who helped send their mother away forever. But what happens to Diane's 4th child, the baby about to be born?
I'd like to see them try to take this baby from me, and how?
Court rules Diane is a danger to her own baby. On June 27, 1984, 10 days after her conviction, Diane is taken to a hospital and led to the maternity ward. Labor was induced, and Diane named the baby Amy Elizabeth. Amy was later adopted, and on October 22, 2010, she appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Diane is locked up with possibility of parole, but she was denied in her recent parole hearing. She definitely won't be able to harm any child again. This is the end of this tragic case. Thank you for watching this video by novybriefs. Please do check out our other videos, and if you like this one, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. I'll be waiting for you in the next video, but until then, please take care of yourselves and each other. Goodbye.